I have a question here from Adam. Does the brain seek equilibrium? And does the conscious mind prevent this by holding on to past injuries? Do mental injuries need to be resolved, or can they be healed by focusing on the positive future? Okay, I'm assuming when you say mental injuries, I'm assuming you're not talking about brain damage. I'm assuming you're talking about traumas. I'm hoping that's what you're talking about, because that's how I'm going to answer the question. I'm assuming you're talking about that. So does the brain seek equilibrium? Well, yes, the brain, of course, wants to seek equilibrium, because over millions of years of evolution, it's created this perfect, wonderful brain made of two hemispheres. And, even when there's brain damage, physical brain damage, the brain will adapt and another hemisphere will attempt to take over the responsibility of the other hemisphere. And we know this through neuroscience and lots of research and done on patients with brain damage. So we know that the hemispheres can adapt, even though they've got specific tasks. They can adapt and take on each other's responsibility. So I think that's a demonstration that the brain is seeking equilibrium, is seeking balance in order to be able to maintain the physical self and the mental faculties, and then, of course, continue procreation, maintenance of the species, because that's why we're here. Everything we do is about maintaining the species. So I think, yes, you're right. It does seek equilibrium. So the second part of that question, Adam, was, does the conscious mind prevent this by holding on to the past injuries? Well, this comes back to how clever is the unconscious mind. We talked about this last time. The unconscious mind is like a sponge. It absorbs what it learns, but at the same time, it inherits a lot of learning through millions of years of evolution. And so, like controlling all of the processes of the body, that's inherited. Some particular responses, fight or flight, and if different kind of instincts, for example, will be learned physiologically and biologically to survive. It's all about survival. But at the same time, it will learn from other things going out inside the world. Learning's happening all the time, moment by moment. You're learning something. Your unconscious mind is learning and then adjusting your behavior based on that content, that information that is taken on. So if the conscious mind has a belief that is irrational or even blocks the possibility to change, then what's happening is it is delaying and preventing the brain from creating that balance again, the equilibrium. Even though the unconscious mind has given the client's conscious mind the data and information about what's happening, the cause and effect relationship between their conscious thinking and behavior and the consequences of that behavior. We are stupid. As consciously, we're stupid. Consciously, that's why you can't remember long phone numbers, because we're not able to. So how on earth are you expecting to resolve serious psychological problems if you can't even remember a long phone number? We are limited by the amount of data we have access to consciously at any moment in time. And of course, that gets limited as well as we get older quite often. So really, if we make the wrong decisions, or we don't trust our unconscious mind, we don't believe what it's telling us, we don't agree with it, or we don't let it participate in our conscious behaviors, then what can happen, if we're stuck like that, it's like banging our head on the wall all the time, we can't resolve a problem. And then what happens is the unconscious mind gets frustrated, it can't resolve it, because like you're fighting what the unconscious mind is doing for you. So, and the idea with hypnosis, of course, is we get the conscious mind and we say, shut up, stop it. Just go and relax in a field or something like that. Go and sit on the beach. Let's talk to the unconscious mind and sort this stuff out. That's basically what we're doing in hypnotherapy. So that's why hypnotherapy works, of course. We get the conscious mind out of the way. Then we work to resolve the problem at the unconscious level. So I think you're right, Adam. I think it does seek equilibrium. And the other part of your question here was, do mental injuries need to be resolved, or can they be healed by focusing on a positive future? There's two things there. Resolved means going back and fixing it. or healed by focusing on a positive future, which means like, can we create something that's so compelling and wonderful that we forget about it, that we let it go? Well, in therapy, we do both, of course. Ideally, you do both. How do you resolve it? Well, what we're doing, we need to resolve not what happened, but how we remember what happened. Because what happened is not in the present. We just have this representation or representation of what happened. So we need to resolve how our brain is replaying that and giving us the bad feeling. And at the same time, we have to then give something positive for the future. So what are the positive consequences of resolving how the brain is maintaining the problem? Look at the positive consequences, the benefits of that. And then what you're doing, you're using that whole principle of motivation. Motivation comes from moving away from something you don't like and moving towards something you do like. So you've got motivation now on board with the therapy, and you're creating that momentum forward. So just focusing on something that's out there in the future, saying it's all going to be okay, see yourself successfully or whatever, all that stuff is positive. It's positive, but much more powerful and effective if you also in the same session or over a series of sessions, you work on resolving what's maintaining the bad feeling or the bad memory, and then go to the positive consequences of that.